about personal development. Personal development. And I want to start with something that we call knowledge deficit problem for our introduction. Personal development usually comes as a result of gaps. Sometimes we find ourselves really limited. Sometimes we find ourselves lacking knowledge in particular areas, and those gaps, they bring frustration, they bring a kind of insatisfaction in our lives. Sometimes we suffer from what we don't even know is the cause. That's we are suffering. We don't know what is the problem here. And what we should note that in life, whatever you don't know puts you in pain. And that's why even when you lean to the Bible, the Bible tells us, as God is crying out there, saying, men are perishing for lack of knowledge. So personal development is coming to fill this gap. Therefore, if we as counselors, if you become a counselor and you have these gaps, for example, somebody comes and presents a case and you are like, how do I handle this? You are ignorant about many things. The person will end up frustrated because of your own frustration. And then at the end of the day, you will become a counselor without anybody to counsel because you are not up to date. So without personal development, we will end up as counselors without results, because as time evolves, people's mentalities are changing. Even marital problems are evolving to complicated ones. So if you take maybe a marriage counselor of who used to be very effective like some 20 years back, and the person brings that same knowledge today to handle couples, the person might end up not succeeding, because the way people have evolved in their knowledge, the way society has evolved, requires that the counselor should have an upgraded knowledge on what is working. So we need to have knowledge in many areas, but have a deeper knowledge in what we are specializing in. For example, if you as an individual living your life, you should even be wondering, what are the things that I need to be able what are the things basic, what is the basic knowledge on nutrition, for example? What are the things that I should feed a baby with? What are the things that I should feed an elderly person with? Those are things that a person that is inquisitive that's knowledge that you should be trying to get. In fact, everything that concerns us, someone who is inclined to developing himself should have basic knowledge. Have basic knowledge on finances, because you manage finances. Have basic knowledge in bringing up children, family life. You should go in for that knowledge, because, like we have said, whatever we do not know always put us in pain. So we need to acquire knowledge. We need knowledge, progressively increasing in our knowledge. And there are some, as as a counselee or as a counselor, there are some things that you must dig and go deep. We are going to see this. But concerning issues of personal development, we are going to proceed with definition, why we need to grow. We'll define growth and have some life lessons about growth. So what is personal development? Can someone in the class tell us what they understand by personal development? Any ideas?
Yeah.
Yes,
personal
Auntie
development.
Yes.
Would to me means developing oneself, growing oneself, improving,
Exactly.
getting better.
You have used a magic word, improving, getting to different versions of you. So we'll just adopt this definition as we manage our time, that personal development is a lifelong process of self-improvement. It is a lifelong process of self-improvement. This involves assessing yourself, your life goals, and aligning them to achieve purpose. Let me repeat so that we can write. It is a lifelong process of self-improvement. This involves assessing yourself, your life goals, and aligning them to achieve purpose. Okay, so the ability to identify and learn or acquire knowledge in various areas of our life and keep ourselves relevant. This is bringing out the importance. What I just said is bringing out the importance of personal development. If we do not develop ourselves, at one moment we will become irrelevant, both to ourselves and to others. So there is a need for us to stay relevant. If, for example, you have issues and each time you approach someone, the person is bringing some archaic knowledge that does no longer apply, you see the person had knowledge, the person was probably even a specialist in a particular domain, but at the moment that the person stopped updating, upgrading him or herself, the person became more and more irrelevant in that particular field. So we are saying that we are supposed to acquire knowledge in order to stay relevant. To stay relevant always means that we need to develop ourselves continuously. So to remain relevant, I repeat, to remain relevant always, we must grow always. We must be growing continuously. Now, why must we grow? We have already seen one of the reasons is that we should stay relevant. We should stay relevant. Like I already quoted before, Hosea, the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6 says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. What we do not know always brings us pain. And that is why we are supposed to know the truth in concerning particular things in our lives. Because when we know the truth, it gives us liberty. When we know the truth, we are set free from pain. For example, if we don't have basic knowledge on our health, sometimes you may be suffering from headache, but if you knew just that dehydration can cause headache, you will not go and be taking paracetamol and poisoning your system with when you just needed to drink water. Having knowledge on moral ethics is important, because if we do not have them, we'll probably be looking maybe for people to help us, but our attitude is driving the people from us. So we need basic knowledge about finances, basic knowledge about spirituality. We need basic knowledge about relationships, very important. Basic knowledge about family, about romance in marriage, about friendship, all those things. Those things that we regularly involve ourselves in as we live our lives should prick us to want to even have basic knowledge. So, as a counselor, one thing we should know is that we are leaders. Because with counseling, you will lead someone to take a decision. I think that by now we already know that as counselors, we do not take decisions for people, but we influence them to take decisions. So leadership goes hand in glove with counseling. So as a leader, as a counselor, you will have to seek essential knowledge in maybe general knowledge in almost every area, but get deeper in things that concern marriage. And as I mentioned below, there are some things that we must know when it comes to marriage, that as a marriage counselor, we must be able to go deeper, so that we don't become those kind of counselors that are irrelevant in our own field. There are some 5 areas that we must develop deep knowledge in. The first area that I want us to note is our personal character. Personal character, the way we manage our personal character. So we need to be able to be those kind of people that discipline ourselves so that we can be able to discipline others. So as a counselor, we must have character. We must be able to take care of ourselves, build dependable character, so that we can be able to manage the crisis of other people. As a counselor, you are there like someone who is managing other people, managing people's relationships for them. So if we are unable to develop ourselves, our personal character, it will become difficult for us to manage other people's own. Because if you want to manage someone's character and the person is seeing lapses in your own, it will be difficult. The second area that we have to develop knowledge in is hospitality. Hospitality intelligence. We must, as marriage counselors, we must be able to develop this level of intelligence, hospitality intelligence. I can give an example of maybe you have a husband and wife, and maybe the husband has a visitor, and the visitor is knocking at the door at the time that you had a you are really in disagreement and it is heated. You will have to practice hospitality intelligence. That's you have to remove that face, that twisted face, and keep somewhere and receive the visitors, and take care of them like there was nothing. That's what we're talking about here. In marriage, when we're talking about marriage, there is a level of intelligence when it comes to hospitality that we must display. And then area 3, the third area that we need to develop, get deeper in, is general house management. We must be able to take good care of our environment, make our environment welcoming. We must be able to put order. And these are things that people who manage homes, that is the female spouse, they must take care of. The fourth area that we have, I'm just highlighting these things that we need to go deeper as marriage counselors. Area 4 is intimacy. And intimacy here is not limited. When we talk about intimacy, we're not limiting ourselves to the bedroom. We're not limiting ourselves to sex. We are talking about friendship too, being good friends with our spouse, being able to build a level of confidence, reliability, be relaxed with one another, learn to have an attitude of gratitude. Those are the things that we need to know in the area of intimacy, and even more. And then one other thing that we must know when it comes to marriage is financial intelligence. Financial intelligence. If we find ourselves in the marriage setting and cannot be able to know what to do with finances, our sweet fellowship will turn into a bitter pill. So we must develop the capacity, work on our knowledge, work on management of finances, so that we can be able to enjoy our relationship. So, as I was saying, so those are the 5 areas that, as I was saying, that we need to have general knowledge, but there are some things that we must become very particular about. So, as a leader, one thing we should note also, as a counselor, like I said, a counselor is a leader because a counselor is there to influence people to take decisions. So we must have essential knowledge. As essential knowledge, like I said, general knowledge. But when it comes now to relationships, husband and wife, as counselors, we must grow deeper and deeper. Reading books, attending seminars, just so that we stay relevant. So when we talk about personal development, we're talking about, like we used one word, self-improvement. Self-improvement also has to do with growing. Self-improvement has to do with growth. and you are improving, you are growing. You are growing in your knowledge. You are growing in your knowledge in specific areas. So what is growth? I'd like us to note that growth is a process of increasing in size. Maybe before you had little knowledge about a particular domain, but once you make studies, you make research, your knowledge in that area increases. And so you can be able to influence someone because of the knowledge that you have acquired, because your knowledge has increased. And one thing that we should note about personal development or growing ourselves is that it requires effort. It does not just flow like normal. We must be intentional, putting in efforts. Putting in efforts so that we can be able to develop to a new potential version of ourselves. We need to grow. We need to grow from one level to another. Intentionally so. It's not like we'll sit and we are desiring. We could desire. When we get to a certain level, we can desire to grow. But if there is no desire, we have to put in the required required efforts. If not, we'll just sit and realize that we're already archaic. We have become obsolete in our own very domain. So growth is required. And that for growth to happen, effort is required. So growth, like we know, when we are growing, our ability to influence increases. When we grow in knowledge, first of all, that knowledge changes the way we think, and the way we think pushes us to change the way we the way we act, and the way we act is going to change our output, our results, and people are seeing the results. When we do influence, we realize that influence always starts with knowledge. It starts with an individual. Many people that we always put as our leaders is because they have the capacity to influence us. They have the capacity to influence people to move in a particular direction. And it starts with them having that ability to influence themselves, to be disciplined. So, growth, intentional growth, helps us to expand. It helps us to expand our influence sphere. So we must be able to grow in order to excel in our counseling. If we are not growing, we will not excel. And you know, people generally go for results. People go for results. So one other thing that we need to note is that we need to sharpen everything that God has given us in order to deploy it. We may have the capacity to do counseling. There are some people that know that they can counsel, but for you to do effective counseling, you need to grow. You must grow anything that you have discovered that you are capable of doing. You will grow in that area before you deploy whatever it is. Before you start serving people with it. If not, it will not be sustainable. So we can even see when we see at creation, God already put in us that ability to multiply, to increase. So God is expecting us to be fruitful. So as a counselor, God is expecting you to be fruitful. And as we have said, for you to produce that fruit, you must develop yourself. You must improve to another version of you. We remember Mommy Delphine is always saying that insanity, when you say that somebody is insane, it's that kind of person that is doing the same thing, the same way, and expecting different results. So for there to be a different result, there must be change. And so there is something, when we're talking about personal development, we are saying that we need to change. Do you get that? You need to change from who you are now to another version of you. That is continuously changing from version 1 to version 2. Sometimes we decide, women know how to change versions. Sometimes you see a lady that had long hair can just change the version of her that when you look, you are like, maybe you have to look the second time to know who the person is. We need to do that with our knowledge. When it comes to knowledge, in the domain of knowledge, we need to be changing versions of ourselves. Like what we are doing, what you are doing now, you are trying to change the version of you. Are we together? Yeah.
Great.
All right. So for you to have a different version of you tomorrow, there must be an effort that is put in today. If not, you will be that lady that is insane. Lady insane. That does the same thing, the same way, and is expecting different results. So we're saying that a life that is committed to growth will yield fruits. Because something is going to change. And who is doing the change? The person that is doing the change is you. There is something that always happens in our with us, or with people generally. When we are not responsible, we always blame people for what is not going. But the moment that we become responsible, we realize that that change that was required was probably us. That we needed to change probably the way you are looking at the thing. They will change the perspective. So your capacity to grow will determine your capacity to influence people. When you change the version of you, and everybody is seeing the different result that you are bringing, they will come to you. So we have to increase in our knowledge continuously so that we stay relevant. If you must continuously be influential, then personal development should become your friend. Now, we are going to look at some things that we need to note about growth. We are saying that personal development is continuously growing, putting in efforts, growing from one level to another. So growth. So we're saying that there are some life lessons that we need to note. I would like that we should note that. Some life lessons to note around growth. 1, growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better. Growth, that change, change, that growth, that increase, improvement is the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better than today. If you don't change the way you do your things, if you don't improve, you will have the same results tomorrow or even worse. The passing of time, they say, is not a guarantee of getting a better tomorrow. The only guarantee that we have when time is passing is that we are getting old. But if it's that we are looking for better life, we must be growing. So we need to keep getting better through intentional growth in our knowledge, intentionally growing our knowledge. So we should continuously be growing in a particular area. We can cite, maybe you have seen a gap discovered. Like we said, with personal development, there is a moment where you assess and see what you're lacking. You may realize that there's something that continuously brings you frustration in your life. That thing that continuously is a pain is an indicator that there's something you need to know. If you have financial crisis now and then, it's an indicator that you need to concentrate in getting more knowledge in that area. If you realize that you continuously have maybe health challenges, it's an indicator that you need to know more. You need to dig deeper in the area of health. Maybe there's something that you don't know. There's some knowledge that you need to get. If you realize, you maybe realize that you make friends, but you cannot sustain relationships, it means that there is something about relationships that you don't know. That's how we know particular areas that we are supposed to develop ourselves in. So we need, the first thing we should note is that growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better. And what we should also note is that when we stop growing, if you stop even that area you are excelling in, if you stop growing, you will start regressing, because even as you already knew, there are some new things that are introducing themselves in that particular domain, that if you don't keep yourself updated, soon you will become obsolete. So the next thing that we need to note is that growth means change, and change is difficult. In our personal lives, we even know that sometimes we are conscious of what we are supposed to do, but we are not doing. That is to really attest to us that change is difficult. So we need to know that growth comes by change, and change is difficult. Things will never change for you unless you change. So it is not the things that need to change, but it is us. The change starts from us. And then we will easily see change around. So if we need to become, for example, you can just take an example. If you need to become slimmer, then the number of kilograms that you have must cut down. You must diminish, or you must reduce them. If you want to become richer, it means that you must make more money. So the change comes from you who have those desires. So for the price, we should note this one, the price for a better life is for you to change. The third area, no, before we go to that third area, we should understand that for change to happen, three things must change. Or three things that we need to know about change is that for change to happen, one, we must learn. So when we are developing ourselves, this is what happens. We learn. That's we receive new information. You get some new information. And then the second thing is that we unlearn. This is the process of change. You learn, that is, you receive new information. You unlearn, that is, you let go of what you were holding onto or what you have been using, the knowledge that you have been using to take your decisions. You have to let go. And then thirdly, you have to relearn. It means that you should take that new information that works, put it to practice, relearn. For example, a serious evangelist in our days can use social media that was not used in some years back. Instead of using the method, people are mobile, but they are always maybe connected to social media. Person can learn how to use social media to evangelize. And there are apps for that. There are people who have specialized in teaching people on how to use that. So they can enroll in such a course and learn how to use it and evangelize so perfectly using social media because it is working now. Thirdly, so we said that first, growth is the only guarantee that tomorrow will be better. Secondly, growth means change. We have talked about change. Thirdly, growth is the difference between successful and unsuccessful people. If we can note that, thirdly, growth is the difference between successful and unsuccessful people. Everyone that has succeeded in life has had to grow. They will tell you what version they were before and what they have become now, what they had to become in order to be who they are. So the highest reward of growth is not this one we should take special notes. The highest reward of growth is not what we get from the growth. It is the person that we become. This is what is so good, so sweet about personal development, is that once you have developed yourself, nobody can take that version of you from you. It's you. So when we improve ourselves, what is important in the improvement is not what we get, it is who we have become. It is who we have become. Because who we have become will attract some things to us. And those things that we get from as a result of who we have become, even if they are taken away from us, we can still get them because who we have become is what brought those things to us in the first place. So personal development is key to a life of satisfaction, is key to a life of fulfillment. And what we should note is that personal development makes our lives better. However, if we do not engage in personal development, the frustrations of this life, the frustrations that come as a result of our ignorance, the frustrations and challenges that we are unable to face, that we are unable to overcome as a result of our ignorance, will make our lives bitter. So the question is, are you getting better or you are becoming bitter? We are the ones who have to decide whether our lives will be getting better through personal development, or we will allow ourselves to be living bitter lives because we don't want to change, because we don't want to learn, we don't want to improve. Okay, so knowledge makes you better and ignorance makes you bitter. And mommy had said something that I always remember, that what we are looking for is looking for us. That thing that you want is also wants you, but it is not this version of you. Immediately you become that version that can handle what you want, you will see the thing. It will come to you. So that's what I had to share with us tonight. And I'm looking forward to questions and what we have had to learn. So I really want to hear from us. Any clarifications, any more contributions? Are we there together?
Thank you, Mommy Glo.
You're welcome. I'm waiting for questions. I'm waiting for contributions.
My contribution, Mommy Glo, will be a hindrance. One major hindrance that I've noticed in personal growth.
Okay.
Looking from my little sphere of influence, I've realized that people don't want to improve because they are comfortable with ignorance. Besides being comfortable, being ignorant, some don't even know that they need to improve.
That is it.
You mentioned an area that will cut across. I'm confident to say maybe over 50% of homes today that as counselors we need to have neat and orderly environments. Most of the houses you get into, or most of the spaces you get into, you will find either tables very disorderly and the people say they are busy, or you find house spaces disorderly because they say they have children. And if we don't bring people, you realize sometimes that you have to tell someone that, look, this thing, you have to focus on it, you have to give it attention for it to change. And so if we're not talking to them, finding ways of helping people to get places of change, to change in this area, ignorance will keep them grounded.
That's a serious one. That's a serious one. And many homes have broken on the basis of that house management. Thank you. Any other? Dorcas, are you with us?
Yes, ma. Good evening. I just came back from work. I joined the class late. I was just trying to catch up.
Okay. All right.
I joined late. Very late.
Maclaire, any take home? Macaro, are you with us?
Yes, glorious lady. I am with you. I joined it to a little bit late, but at least I caught some points.
Okay,
I
we'll
was
be
just
happy
trying
to hear
to,
what you have learned.
I just was trying to savor it and trying to go through what I took before, trying to know, to see. I don't
Okay.
know what they thought about, but I think another reason why people don't venture in this is fear. Fear of the unknown. You don't want to maybe try it before you fail. And sometimes discouragement about those who are around you.
Mm.
We are talking this in the, in the aspect of premarital counseling. I'm telling you that the homes we find ourselves into, let's say already in marriages, if you don't watch out, it can be an obstacle and hindrance.
Yes.
Because if you have a spouse that doesn't take it, who will ask you, but do you think that is necessary, or discourage, or do everything so that to like an obstacle? It can be really devastating in your life. You will never see that you even need to attempt even things. Sometimes you just think that you are good for nothing somebody.
Mm.
So a lot of discouragement can come from one spouse or the other. A story is being told about somebody who gets married and wants to venture into, let me say, get into further knowledge, do some studies, like maybe just like what we are doing. In those days, we didn't have possibilities maybe of using the, doing it online like we are doing. You have to be
Yes.
physically there. And some of these things used to be not really within the country. So maybe you see something that is launched like a scholarship and you rush to your, this is a story of somebody I know, rushes
Yes.
to the spouse to say, oh, this, I want to do this. It seems interesting, and I want to, even within my fear of the fears, around my area of work in my office, this can help me. And this is the husband who asked her, have you finished with childbearing?
Mm.
And touching that already, or have you thought about the family, the children are young? Some of those kind of statements can discourage a lot of people. I want to doff my cap for those spouses, especially men who will encourage their wives, would even follow them in up to, for them to take up a new adventure and sometimes even finance it. But I bet you
Mm.
sometimes it's about the environment, and mostly since we are talking about homes, marital homes, it can be a very difficult one to just stay where you are, because either you are not given the opportunity as a spouse, or a lot of discouragement from your environment. Thank you so much, Mama.
Thank you so much. You've just touched a point there, and I really want to come back to this. Sometimes we want to do certain things, and once we have this discouragement, we stop trying. We stop trying, and we just enter into the blame game. Like now, like you are saying, in our context, in our present context, we may have wives or we have spouses who want to do particular things, and the other spouse maybe is against. Let me say the husband is against the wife leaving the house to go. But a dynamic and responsible, self-development hungry woman will sit in the house and still learn what she wants to learn, because the YouTube is there to somebody who is hungry for development. See, we are talking here about personal development. So someone who is dynamic will see how to go about it without having to without having to bring disorder in the home. So seeking wisdom from God, it is God's idea that people should improve. God made us to be productive. He made us to multiply. Multiplication is not only about multiplication of human beings, but whatever He has endowed us with, we have to grow it, multiply, and influence the lives of others. So the judgment I'm giving in that area is that we should be dynamic in our approach. We should be dynamic. If I want to learn something and my husband says that, no, you can't do this because of this, because he has his reasons and probably for the welfare of the home, but I can now, within that sphere, using my telephone, do what, and being organized, be able to do something that will help me not to be bitter because I've not been given the opportunity, but that I'll become better because I've chosen to do it differently in a way that it will not affect the home negatively. Okay.
True.
Thank you. I saw.
Omiglo.
Yes, so
I just want to add that a lot of people, given the ignorance level for personal
yes,
development, we can use our teaching opportunities or encourage them to join platforms like ours, like that in which we are.
exactly.
We can be kind enough to help them and push, drag those we have to drag, push those we have to push. By maybe, not my case right now though, but by maybe encouraging someone with a part of the fee.
Yes, yes.
Kindness, going out and beyond. When eventually they get transformed, they will be grateful that you help them. They will be grateful that you them to that place. Even taking time to share a bit, like giving teasers of what we are presently studying and opening their eyes to how it will benefit them. For some people, their lives have stopped. They don't care. They're not thinking beyond themselves. But opening their eyes to the fact that their generations will need what they're learning, world needs what they're learning. God is counting on them to get to improve on themselves. Just those little eye-opening tips and words and acts of kindness can get people, I think, can get more people on this kind of journey that will big effects.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mama Glo, can I just say something about a little experience?
Okay.
That what I've found. To tell you, what she says is very good. But I'm that person that I'm inquisitive in a lot of things. I not only pay money, everything I hear, I attend, I do everything to attend, when I'm, any occasion where I hear there's some talk or something, and I know that I was late. But I tell you that I have groups where I've been there for maybe almost 30 years. I know each time I learn some new thing, or I see something advertised on somewhere on the radio or in the radio or on the television or so, I come and share. I send it in the forum. Guess what? People will not even yield to. I will even go and learn. Let me say that I'm already applying some of our classes. Because each time I'm talking to even some visitor, I just try to, and it gets to Marita something also, I use it. As I'm presently attending this and I'm using. But let me tell you what, it made me sometimes to tell a group, and it has made me to leave some certain groups. I said, if I cannot, I go to somewhere either to learn or to impact.
Yes.
I don't go to a meeting or association to just sit and eat. That is not I don't leave my house for that. So I've told people a few times that, you know what, Whether you like or not, you don't want to learn or you don't want to know about certain things. God only will use those ones that are available and are ready to share. Because
Yes.
what happens is that some people even go and learn traits or learn things, or they see something somewhere. Believe me, they'll come and sit quietly in their group or somewhere and don't talk about it. But some of us who are used to and like to talk so much, you like to share. It's quite frustrating that you will share everything. Invite. My daughter talked about even paying. If you are willing to pay, sometimes you don't even have people who will tend to go. Do we have such occasions? It has made that I now really try to have screen down a lot of my meetings or some places I go because of the negativity and it doesn't impact. And when it comes to that, what do? I forge ahead, I keep going. And I will share maybe with other people somewhere out of my environment who can benefit from it. You know, so sometimes they say it should show. This one is always talking, but hey, it's not everybody who shares what you have learned, even pay
Yes.
your own money. But those when you come and say it, some people either making gestures and all. Some always think that she's benefited from something by. You don't worry what she's saying. I don't know whether people have found that occasion, but I'm a victim of many of those things. But it doesn't stop me to continue to venture into things. Thank you so much.
Seriously. Like we are saying, the most important thing about this personal development is who we become. Who we become. I mean, after we have developed, who we become. And one, as we are talking, I just realized that there are some people, they continue. That's like Antisa already mentioned. They don't want to, but they when you sit with them, their discussion is only about pain, their troubles, their problems.
Exactly.
And as we already mentioned in this lesson, those problems are pointers to where they need to develop, what they need to work on. If they keep on discussing about what the problem that they have about this, the problem, it is a reason for them to learn. And since they don't want to change, like we are saying, change must happen. If you don't change the way you are doing things, if you don't change what you are doing things the same way, and you are expecting different results, you are surely insane.
You regress. Regression setting.
Good
And you
evening,
only so you
Coach
see, we have
Glow. Good evening.
yes, so mommy, you're welcome.
Thank you. I was just enjoying the discussion and gleaning from your contributions. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, my personal coach, Mama Caro. No, Mom Caro is my personal coach now.
Oh my God, my honor.
She's my
Well,
mentor.
oh my God. Oh my God.
We spend
Really
our life
humbled.
learning from each other. That's our life. I'm learning a lot from her. She's learning whatever she's learning from me. I don't know, but I know I'm learning a lot from her. Yes, so.
So it's a
Thank
tribe.
you.
It's a tribe of learners.
I
Thank
know
you.
her question or her contribution is powerful and very real. Very real, because a lot of people are very adamant when it comes to change. There are people who are hardened. They don't just change. Yes. And that's why we talk about personal development. That means it's about you. It's about you developing you. And in leadership, we talk about self-leadership, because there's a way you are going to lead yourself that it will end up impacting others without you necessarily going to them to tell them that change or do this or do
Exactly.
it this way. So a lot of the time, people don't even like to be told what to do. Let me tell you, people don't like to be told what to do. So that telling them what to do only builds resistance. It builds resistance. So the secret is build you, develop you to the level where, you're so focused on you increase, because when you develop yourself, there's a level that your joy increases to. It increases joy in you. There are things you discover. It's true that you have love for your people, but the truth is that leadership principles tell you that when you start telling people what to do, that is when they don't want to do it. So focus on do you, love you, develop you to the point where they will now start looking at you and wanting to be like you. And this is one of my own personal secrets. I don't tell you that do this or don't do that. I just do my thing. The thing becomes so sweet that you want to be a part of it. It's not like I'm telling you that come and do this. I don't even ask you to do. So I do it and get to a level where you start asking, but you find yourself somebody asking, can I do, how did you do this? How? They'll ask you a question without you telling them that come and do this or do this, listen to this, do that. You can use other methods to get people to. Just like sometimes when I get something really powerful, I play on my phone. I play on my phone and I make it loud. And sometimes my husband can get wind of what I'm doing by hearing, because there is the tendency that you listen to what the other person is listening to. So sometimes you can get them to listen to some things like that. But that'll be it. If it is you telling them that do this, you may not achieve that. So the best way is deal with yourself, lead yourself, and grow yourself to the point where you become so attractive. That's all I can say.
Wow. Wow. That's rich. Thanks so much. So rich.
This is sweet.
And don't allow anybody steal your joy. In all you're doing, don't let anybody steal your joy. Whatever they do, just make sure that your joy level is high, because the person that has knowledge, it will show. When you have the right knowledge, it will increase your joy. So your joy is contagious. Some people will start wanting to be like you. Thank you, Coach Blo.
Fruits are never hidden. when fruits have been born and they are ripe, everybody will come for them. Okay, Mommy, thank you very much. Papa D.
Yeah, glorious lady.
Anything for us?
Yeah, it was a powerful class, and then just trying to get the different ideas and contributions. I think one of the contributions that marked me was that of Solange Light, who said, most often people don't change because they don't want to give attention to some things. Let me rephrase it, that it's about negligence. When you are negligent about something, you will not see the reason why you need to do it better. People can do a lot of things, but in a mediocre kind of way. And when you do that, you find yourself not excelling and keep on having the same result, like you were saying, or you start regressing. And so we keep on emphasizing on this words from our coach, saying there is a best version of yourself. Whatever you are now, there is a best version of yourself. And that best version of yourself will only show up or manifest when you personally give attention to personal development. Attract those things, because life responds to values. Life responds to value. When you develop yourself, when you upgrade yourself, your value is increased. And when your value is increased, there is a price tag that comes with that value. And that's why we talk about rebranding. When you become a brand, you have a brand name. People are no more, it's no more about what you're doing, but about that brand. So there is a level to which when you grow, that growth will go beyond yourself. And that's where we talk about people who have lived, they have died, but they are still living because their legacy lives through the impact. It lives through their impact. And that impact was beyond them. So if it is beyond them, it was beyond what they wanted to get. It was about who they become, and who they became doesn't die with them. Who they become lives after them. And so personal development and growth is one of the areas, as you've rightly shown us, is that area that we must intentionally seek to develop, to grow. Maturity is not about age. Maturity is about growth. And maturity is a responsibility. So each time when you grow, you take responsibility. When you grow, you take responsibility. You don't make excuses. Now, this is the thing about our coach, Mommy. She gives you an assignment. She give you something to do. Say she want this. Why is looking for his result? Same with that DK. It's about the result. So, but if you have excuses, you will be like the person in the parable of the talent, the parable of what was 10 talents or 5 talents. One took his own talent and buried it. One took his own talent, 2 others, having to invested. Had 4. The other one invested 5 and had twice, each twice to invest. And so personal development brings you to intentionally invest in yourself. And our coach has said, love yourself, develop yourself, enjoy yourself, celebrate yourself, and all of that. But this guy, when he took his own talent, he went and buried it. So there is nobody that was born without a talent, without a gift. Because the people who makes excuses about life, they feel that the other person has something that they don't have. And each time you're looking at the other person, you'll be blind to your own talents. You are blinded to your own potentials. God is not looking for you to become another person. It's rightly, as we keep on stating, is to become the best version of yourself. And you become the best version of yourself by looking inside of you, harnessing what is inside of you, nurturing and maturing it. When you are able to identify it, you harness it, you nurture it, you mature it. And when it is mature, people will come for you because you will now be reigning in your domain, not wanting to be another person, but making the difference in your own domain. And your own domain has what you mentioned, your own spheres of influence. And the more you intentionally do that, your spheres of influence will expand. Your spheres of influence will grow. It's same with every other area of life. Whether it is ministry, we have people like Solani, like they are, ministry pastors. The more you develop yourself, be it in prayer, be whatever that you do, the more you develop yourself, God will bring your kind, the people that you are ready to answer to the problems and be a solution to their issues because you have developed yourself. Don't try to announce yourself. Don't try to impress people because expression is better than impression. Expression is better than impression. Expression is manifestation. Expression is that person that you have become. Where scripture says the earth, the creation, is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. Not waiting for the child that you are. The potential that is not yet developed is a child. The gift that is not yet developed is a child. And Ecclesiastes says this way. He said, woe to you when you are king is a child. So when you grow, you will become a king in your domain. That is when you reign in life. And that's when you will as we training people, as we are teaching, what we are doing is, I remember in making meaningful relationships, but much more, we seek to give meaning to every relationship we come across. And you cannot give meaning to your relationships without development and personal development and growth. So once you grow, once you develop yourself, you give meaning even to your marriage, your relationship. Because as our coach have taught us, something is clear. Many of the issues and problems people are having in relationship is because they have not grown. When they grow, some things that they were calling problems, conflict, is just vanished. Because the truth is, one of the issues is they are not able to manage what God has given them. And so many people have lost their husbands, lose their wives because they failed to grow. So God gave it to them. It's like that talent. God gave their husband like a gift, but they failed to manage it. Whatever you cannot manage, you lose it. Whatever you mismanage, whatever you mismanage, you will lose it. Whatever you manage, you keep it. If you have money, then you are able to manage money. If you are poor, it's because you are not able to manage money. You are mismanaging money. The highest, greatest thing that you discover if you come around rich people is that they don't just spend anyhow. They have learned over the years to manage their own finances. So all of these principles that we're talking about, it cuts across in every area. It cuts across. It is in marriage. It's in many people. They are even pastors, prophets, bishops who are divorced, who lose their marriages, not because the person was evil. They just failed to grow. And because they failed to grow, they want every other person around them to remain dwarfs. And when people now grow above that level, you can no longer keep them. So even your own husband or your own wife, if you fail to grow, sooner or later, the person will outgrow you, and then you lose value before that person. The person start looking outside. It's same in companies. You got a job, you are working somewhere, you fail to develop yourself and grow yourself. Sooner or later, that company will grow above you where you can no longer handle. They will go and hire better people than you. Then you lose the job and then come back and start praying in church. And when you pray for all your life, there are areas that need prayers, there are areas that need growth. So I want to thank you for this a powerful teaching. And we are intentional in the school, and we want to do more. We want to learn, relearn. What did you say? To unlearn, learn, and relearn.
Learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Thank you very much.
Learn, relearn, unlearn. Unlearn, relearn.
Okay, glorious lady. Is she still there?
Yes, I am, Papa D. I am.
Okay. All right. That was
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And just to chip in that personal development is not about doing big things. We can just being consistent is the magic. You can just decide, for example, if you want to develop your knowledge in a particular area, and you program yourself that 10 minutes every day you are going to study it, and you stay consistent, you will realize your mindset about that area has changed and you have become a different version of yourself. So it's not about big programs, it's not about expenditures, but it's about us approaching what we need humbly and having the welfare of our homes in view. So Papa D has also evoked something very important. As counselors, when we have people come to us for counseling, we can always detect areas where they need to grow from their problems. Sometimes the problems they are posing is because maybe their partner has outgrown them and they need to grow. Sometimes it could be because they have outgrown their partner when it comes to personal development, and then the other person is struggling. So personal development is one of the things that is a reason why many homes are not balanced. And so we have to look at it. Okay. If there is no other, I'm now functioning from darkness. Light has gone off. Annie, are you with us?
Yes, Mommy Glow, I'm here.
Let me hand back your platform.
Thank you very much.